How often do you get interrupted at dinner with a phone call from a telemarketer wanting money for a charity? Ever wonder about the charity behind it? When our Mark Douglas received such a call, he decided to check it out, and the result is tonight's 8 on Your Side investigation.
7-year-old Jake Boser is all boy all the time. It's hard to believe that just 2 years ago, Jake wasn't fighting for a puck. He was fighting for his life.
We had learned that from Jake's doctors that his tumors had stopped responding to the treatment and that within 2 weeks he was going to lose his left eye.
Jake's pediatrician referred the family to the Kids Wish Network, a national charity based in Oldsmar. Jake made a wish and the charity made it happen. It hooked Jake up with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Coach Gruden even let him blow the practice horn.
They were just really came through for our family and turned our worst time into our best time.
Founders of the Kids Wish Network say during a recent 3-year period, they granted wishes to more than 474 kids, much like Jake. They also threw more than a dozen parties at children's hospitals from Tampa to Texas. Now, who could argue with an organization doing that kind of good? Daniel Borkoff can. Would you donate money to this organization?
Definitely not.
Daniel Borkoff runs the American Institute of Philanthropy, a well-known watchdog group that monitors hundreds of charities, including the Kids Wish Network. What kind of grade do they rate from your organization?
They receive an F grade.
Ouch, the lowest grade possible. Why so harsh?
Because they're accomplishing very little with your contribution. They're only able to get 8 or 9% of their dollars to actual program type services. So it's, they're accomplishing very little.
Mark Briner runs Kids Wish along with his wife Shelley and mother-in-law Barbara Askin. They met with us briefly but declined to go on camera. But like any charity, Kids Wish must answer to the IRS. In their 2002 filing, the Briners reported spending 3/4 of the budget, about $6.2 million, on professional fundraising fees. That's 74 cents of every dollar donated in cash and goods. What did it spend on kids? The charity reports spending about $1.9 million on its Holiday of Hope program, providing parties and toys at hospitals. That works out to about 22% of the money it took in. Kids Wish spent only about 10% of its income on wishes for kids. The year before that, it was 9%, and 6% the year before that.
9 or 10% is pitifully poor.
We wanted to talk to Kids Wish about all of this. Mark Briner had his legal firm send us this letter. Attorney Errol Koplovitz claims the organization spent only $4.3 million on fundraising, far less than the $6.2 million listed as fundraising fees in its most recent filing. Why the discrepancy? This line explains some of it. Kids Wish says about $2.2 million of the money it paid to fundraisers was actually a program service. Its justification, in addition to asking for money, telemarketers also asked potential donors whether they knew of any kids who might need help. Borkoff says labeling that question as a program service is ludicrous, but legal.
It's a clever way for them to disguise their financial reporting, to disguise their fundraising cost, to label it as a program. The accountants go along with it. This is a problem in this field.
But Koplovitz insists to judge the organization simply on the basis of its dollar efficiency pertaining to one aspect of its fundraising as compared to its program service results is irresponsible and wrong. Koplovitz says Kids Wish, which was founded in 1998, is still a young charity and counts on professionals to help raise money from donors who typically give small cash donations. Gail.
Now, you and I were talking about this before, and one of the things you were kind of amazed actually to find as you were doing this investigation is really how little oversight or regulation there was in exactly how these dollars were to be spent.
And I think most people really don't understand that as long as a charity does something related to its stated cause, that's legal. Kids Wish says it threw some hospital parties and granted 145 wishes last year, for example. But even if it granted just one wish, the IRS probably wouldn't mind, Gail, because it's really up to donors, especially this time of year, to ask tough questions, research what any charity does, and how well they do it. It's donor beware.
And again, you were saying also that that's why there's so many watchdog groups out there, because somebody's got to keep an eye on what's going on with this kind of stuff.
A lot of resources we put online people can use to research.
Thank you. And if you would like to learn more about Kid Wish or any charity, you can log on to TBO.com, keyword multimedia. The Kids Wish Network raises millions in tax-exempt donations to help sick and dying children. But an Aid on Your Side investigation reveals that most of the charity's money ends up with adults instead of kids. Tonight, investigative reporter Mark Douglas takes another look at how Kids Wish and similar charities spend your money.
Go! The Kids Wish Network says it helps hundreds of kids like cancer survivor Jake Boser. Jake wanted to spend a day with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and Kids Wish hooked him up.
It was a pretty exciting moment for us and for Jake, and he really got a lot out of that.
The charity tells donors it grants wishes for sick and dying children, ranging from celebrity encounters to theme park vacations and even the purchase of home computers. It keeps a warehouse in Oldsmar stocked with toy donations. But what Kids Wish Network doesn't say in any of its literature is that most of its donations, 74%, went to professional fundraisers during its most recent year on file with the IRS. And according to that 2002 report, Kids Wish spent 1 dime out of every dollar on actual wishes for kids, like the one it gave Jake. Another 20% or so went for parties and gifts for kids at hospitals. The rest, and we're talking millions here, paid for other stuff, ranging from telemarketers to cars and trucks driven by the husband, wife, and mother-in-law who run the Kids Wish Network. The national director of one charity watchdog group says Kids Wish is a bad deal for donors.
They can really grant a lot more wishes with their dollars than they could if they give to a group that's highly inefficient, such as Kids Wish.
Daniel Borkoff's group, the American Institute of Philanthropy, gives Kids Wish its lowest possible grade, an F.
Most of the better organizations are able to get 70% or more of their budget towards actual program services.
To boost its bottom line, Kids Wish might consider the example of the Make-A-Wish Foundation, which sponsored this child's encounter with the Buccaneers. Make-A-Wish doesn't use professional telemarketers. None of its 3 chapters spends less than 70% on program services. V. Yared runs its Tampa chapter.
I think that's a very fair return for what we have to do to get that money.
According to its IRS filings, Tampa's Make-A-Wish chapter spends 76% on programs. Compare that to the 40% Kids Wish reports. Back at the Kids Wish headquarters in Oldsmar, we discovered something else donors might be interested to know about: the president's drag racing hobby. Mark Briner started Kids Wish Network with his wife Shelley and mother-in-law Barbara Askin 7 years ago. On 2 occasions, we spotted Briner working on race cars in the Kids Wish garage. We watched him hitch his racing trailer to a pickup truck, a truck sporting a racing decal but registered to Kids Wish. He proceeded to load up the truck with cans for a trip to a gas station miles away that sells racing fuel. So what does drag racing have to do with Kids Wishes? That's one of 17 questions we submitted in writing that Briner won't answer. The Better Business Bureau says Kids Wish won't answer its list of questions either. And the same goes for the American Institute of Philanthropy.
They don't respond to our requests for information, this Kids Wish Network. It would cost them very little money to make a few copies of documents and mail and answer a few questions, but they're not even willing to do that.